Welcome to Ron's Workbench. Hey, welcome back to Ron's Workbench. In today's episode, we'll complete the building of the coal office. Last episode, we assembled the building and installed the roof. Now we'll attach some end trim and exposed rafters to the roof, and after which we'll add the floor and loading dock area to the building. The kit comes with two different types of rafter sizes. I chose the smaller of the two pieces, which are roughly a scale 2x10. I cut the strips into 11 separate lengths, 4 each for the end sections and 7 for the exposed rafters that are going to be over the loading dock area. I used the 90-degree cutter on my chopper to cut them to the correct pitch of the roof. I painted the outside rafters white and then weathered them slightly prior to attaching them to the ends of the building. The outside rafters were a different animal. I weathered the 2x10 scale strip wood using the ink and alcohol mixture prior to cutting them to length. I cut the rafters slightly oversized so I could trim them flush with the edge of the roof after installing them. I attached the rafters by applying a tiny amount of glue to the top and back of each piece. I spaced the rafters to a scale 16-inch center using my calipers. Now, there are companies out there that sell nail and rafter guides. So while I'm on the subject, placing nail holes in your siding is a completely subjective detail. If you like it, go for it. If you don't. I'm on the fence. There are some buildings that look very good with nail holes, but my opinion is if you're going to add nail holes as a detail to your building, make them scale. Oversized or out of proportion nail holes are just very distracting to a building. So now that the roof is complete, let's move on to the floor and foundation. As I said prior, by not attaching the edge molding to the side walls at the beginning of the build, the internal area of the structure ended up being smaller than the supplied floor and the loading dock. I decided to paint the edges of the floor and the one side of the dock white. I thought maybe I'd be able to play down the undersize. It really didn't work. So next time I would go darker, because if you really want to play down and minimize a detail, you should actually go with a darker color. And here's a view of the loading dock. I just weathered it up with some wash and dry brush the edges a little bit with some white paint. Now, the kit comes with unpainted laser inscribed brick corner pieces to make a stacked brick pier foundation elements. To paint the brick, I used a mixture of brick red and burnt umber paint, which gave a nice aged brick color to the piece of wood. I dry brushed the paint on rather than brushing it on heavily. I did this to avoid filling in the delicate brick details. Once the paint was dry, I took gray spackling compound on my fingers and gently rubbed it in over the bricks to make the mortar lines. After that, I used a damp paper towel and wiped the compound off the bricks. Well, this is where having sausage fingers and delicate modeling don't mix. I ended up snapping the piece of strip wood into 2 pieces. A little glue later, and the pieces were back together. I then cut the pieces into equal lengths and attached them in strategic places under the floor. Once the brick piers had dried, I did a little more weathering on the building, and at that point, I considered the building portion complete. I added some extra details to the outside of the structure. The pile of junk in the corner and the bags of coal on the loading dock are from rusty rail. pallets are from Woodland Scenics. Okay, so let's go over our takeaways. Positives. This is a cool kit from Casey's workshop. It was easy to build and a lot of fun. You can use this building to represent a variety of structures on your layout or your dioramas. So what would I do different if I did it over again? I would definitely make sure to attach the corner bracing first, then paint. I think I would redo the roof rafters, and next time I would definitely put an interior inside of this building. So that wraps up this build. If you like what I'm doing here on Ron's Workbench, please subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to be notified when I post more videos. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends on other social media outlets. And please, let me know what you think of this series in the comment section of this video. So bye for now, and we'll see you again next week right here on Ron's Workbench. On the next episode of Ron's Workbench, we'll pour ourselves some concrete.